Let me start with a confession. I currently represent my country by throwing balls at people. I play dodgeball for England. And before you judge me, yes, it's a real sport. Yes, it's terrifying. And yes, I've had an 80-mile-an-hour ball thrown directly at my head. And strangely, in that exact moment, I learned more about surviving the age of artificial intelligence than any lecture, any book, or any algorithm could ever tell me. Because dodgeball, it turns out, is the perfect model for the future of work. When you step onto the dodgeball court, three things are true. You don't control what's coming at you, you don't have perfect information, and if you stand still, you're out. Sound familiar? That's the age we're walking into with artificial intelligence. Every week there's a new tool, a new headline, a new system saying the machines will outcreate us, outthink us, take our jobs, and our natural reaction is fear. We freeze, we hesitate, we stand still. But standing still has never been safe. Not in history, not in sport, and not now. The real question is not, will AI replace us? The real question is, what makes us irreplaceable? And the answer is what I call the human edge. So if you remember nothing else from today, remember this. The future belongs to people who master the three E's: empathy, experience, and exploration. That's the edge. Let me tell you why. So, if AI can already outperform us in so many technical areas, what exactly is left for us? What can the machines not replicate? And I think it begins here with something deeply human: empathy. AI can recognize emotion, analyze your words, your voice, your facial expressions, but it cannot feel. It doesn't care if you're afraid, it doesn't celebrate your success, and it doesn't sit next to you when you fail. Only humans do that. When I moved from being a lawyer into education, I realized something. The most powerful moment in the classroom isn't when a student gets the right answer, it's when they feel they belong there. And that belief is built through empathy, through someone saying, I see you, I hear you, you matter. And here's the part that nobody talks about when we talk about the future of work. It's not the technology that people are afraid of, it's irrelevance. It's the fear of waking up and thinking, the world has left me behind. And I've seen that fear in classrooms. Students whisper it in different ways. What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't keep up? What if everybody else gets it except for me? And here's the thing. Those things existed long before AI. Technology didn't invent insecurity. It just gave it a louder microphone. The most powerful moment I've seen in the classroom wasn't the top grade, it was a student that decided to stay. A student that almost dropped out and convinced themselves they didn't belong, and then they chose to try one more time. And someone sat next to them and said, you can do this. And that's empathy. That's the human edge. Not brilliance, not perfection, but presence. And that human moment is the foundation of the future that we build, and no algorithm can replace that. The physicist, Professor Brian Cox, reminds us, we are an island of meaning in an infinite sea of stars. In a universe that's 93 billion light years wide, we are the ones who create meaning, not machines, not systems, but us. And empathy is meaning in action. And that brings me on to the second E, experience. AI has access to more information than you or I ever will. It can read everything, summarize everything. But there's one thing it doesn't have, a shared human experience. It doesn't know what it feels like to fall short and sit with that disappointment. To replay that moment in your head thinking, could I have done better? To feel really proud of something small that no one else even notices. These moments, these quiet moments, are where we become who we are. And they're invisible to AI. Because experience isn't just what happens, it's what it feels like when it happens. The lump in your throat when something matters. The pause before you speak. The butterflies in your stomach. The way your body tells you something isn't quite right. AI might call that inefficiency, but it's an awareness. It's an awareness that's built through living, through trying, failing, adapting, through the moments that don't always go to plan. And AI won't carry that. It doesn't hesitate because something matters, but we do. And that hesitation, that emotion, that lived experience. It's not something we need to remove. It's something we need to trust because it connects us. When someone shares a struggle with you, we recognize it. Not because we've read about it, because we felt it. And that's the difference. AI can simulate conversation, but there's no real understanding. And that's the human edge. We don't just process the world, we respond to it, we interpret it. We turn experience into ideas. And that leads to the third E, which matters so much. There's one more thing that separates us from machines, and it's becoming more important, not less. Exploration. This is the E that most people underestimate. It's not just about learning new skills, it's exploration of ideas, of creativity, of what it means to express something real. Because AI is incredibly powerful. It analyzes patterns, solves problems. It outperforms human beings in the top 1% of science and mathematics. It even generates things that look new. But what it can't do is create from lived meaning. It doesn't imagine. It doesn't dream. It doesn't wake up with an idea it can't quite explain yet. And it doesn't feel inspired or motivated. It doesn't create something because it has to get something out. We do that. And that's where the creativity lives. Not in perfection, but in spontaneity, in the unexpected connection, the idea that doesn't quite make sense yet, but it feels like it might matter. And that's where authenticity becomes critical. Because we're entering a world where more and more content is generated. It's polished, it's optimized, it's perfect. But we already know something about perfect. We've seen it on our social media feeds. Carefully created lives, filtered versions of reality. And it feels like something's not quite right. And the same is true with AI. You can have a conversation. It can sound convincing, helpful, insightful even. But there's something missing. The nuance, the shared context, the unspoken signals, the human details we pick up without realizing. Even on a video call, we don't capture everything. There's a pause, a shift in tone, a glance. And those things matter. Because communication isn't just words, it's connection. It's two people bringing their experiences into the same room. And AI can generate responses, and it generates them well, but it doesn't meet you there. And that's why exploration matters. Because the future won't reward people who can do what AI can already do. It will reward those who can think differently, create meaning, communicate with authenticity, and bring something human into the room. So yes, AI will redefine work, technical skills will evolve, but the real advantage will belong to those who keep exploring, not just what you can do, but what only you can bring. Because in a world of generated content, authenticity stands out. So let's return to the dodgeball court. There's a moment in every match where the chaos hits, balls flying, teammates everywhere, shouting, noise, and your brain wants to panic. But the elite players, they do the opposite. They breathe, they scan, they move. They trust their teammates, they trust their training, and that's exactly the skill we need now, because AI isn't chaos, it's speed, and speed punishes hesitation. Remember what I said at the start, if you stand still, you're out. But if you move with intention, with empathy, with experience, with exploration, you won't be a victim of the game, you'll be playing it. And at DeMontfort University, I see this transformation every day. Students from every background, every postcode, every story. People who were told the doors weren't built for them, but they walked through anyway. That's exploration. Education isn't about memorizing answers anymore. It's about learning to adapt faster than the questions change. And Brian Cox reminds us that we are tiny in the cosmos. A small planet orbiting an average star in an ordinary galaxy, and yet we are the part of the universe that understands itself. We are the universe that's conscious, and I think that's not small, that's pretty extraordinary. And when he talks about the universe, he reminds us how small we are, a dot on a dot. And strangely, I find that comforting, because it means the pressure to be perfect is an illusion. The universe doesn't demand perfection for us. It just asks us to participate. So remember, Life is a dodgeball court. The sidelines are full of people watching, safe, still, untouched. But they're not playing the game. And on the court, people fall, they laugh, they get back up, they live. But in the age of AI, you can either stand on the sidelines or you can step onto the court, because the future isn't written by spectators, it's written by players. So remember the 3 E's. Empathy, because meaning is human. Experience, because we don't just know the world, we feel it. And exploration, where growth and creativity begin. So keep moving, keep learning, keep stepping forward, even when the ball's coming at your head. And in a universe of infinite stars, we are the island of meaning, and that is the human edge. Thank you.